joining us now. She is a dyed-in-the-wool Packers fan, thanks to us. I don't know how her first year as a fan went since they went 1-5 in the division and lost all the good teams on their schedule and then were eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. So, Michelle, welcome again to Wilde Tausch and welcome to Packers fandom. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for having me. And season one was good for me. I know that the end result was not what we wanted, of course, with an early play. And I cared about a football team in a long time. To feel again and to be welcomed by Packers fans the way that I was and to have an emotional response week in and week out was amazing. But now we're on to year two and the expectations are there.
Do you feel the sense of urgency like Goody told us everyone else has to feel? That's nice. We're glad to see you feel that urgency. So I am curious, though, because once they were eliminated, I'm not saying you jumped off the bandwagon. That's not what I'm accusing you of. And certainly,
oh boy,
certainly
that's what you said on the show.
She
can't root for the Lions.
No.
That's
all right.
what you
First
said.
of all,
that's
not what I said. I am not a fan, so I'm not telling people how to fan. I did maybe mention that might not go over great with some of your fellow Packers fans.
Michelle, doesn't that sound like he's kind of telling you how to fan? Am I crazy or am I wrong on that?
Oh, he's absolutely telling me how to fan. You're absolutely saying, I'm not telling you what to do, but here's what you should have done.
Yeah, I've been known to be that passive-aggressive before. The bottom line is you were pulling for the Lions, and I was pulling for that as a storyteller, too. That would have been a great story. They finally get to a Super Bowl. Didn't happen. Did you feel any of that blowback from your fellow Packers fans, or was I just the only critic, a lone voice in the wilderness?
I would say it was 50-50. And you have to understand where I was coming from. I wasn't saying, yay, Lions, like I would want them to win over the Green Bay Packers. All I said was, for a franchise who had suffered such historical agony, for them to be able to go on this run and finally win would be a great story. And to your point, we are storytellers. It would be good for business for me to watch them go on this run. And as much as we hate the other teams in the NFC North, and yes, I say we because I am a Packers fan, Dan Campbell does have a little je ne sais quoi. He is somebody that you feel like you can root for. And I just looked at, and I also said that because Jared Goff and I have a similar path here, that we were both dissed by the Rams. We were both discarded by the Rams. We don't want you. You're not good enough. We're on to pastures. So for him to go on and win a Super Bowl, that would be something I would cheer for. Now, it wasn't like I was cheering for the Chicago Bears. It wasn't like I was saying, oh, if the Packers get bounced from the playoffs, go Bears. I didn't do that. Okay, I know my role here. I know my place. But I would say there were a lot of Packers fans that said, no, you cannot cheer for any team in the North. It's Packers or bust. But a lot of other people were on my side saying, yes, they have been the underdog for quite some time. Historically, scoreboard will always go to Green Bay. So if they get one, it's fine.
Yeah, but the Lions they're the big dogs in the North right now. 2 straight years of North championships. They are our most heated rival. It's the Vikings had a surprise year. Detroit was favored coming in, and they got it done at least until the playoffs hit. So that, I think, is where Packer fans are coming. The Lions have been irrelevant for decades. They're not anymore, right. And that's why it's hard for Packer fans to look at and say, no. We can't come on board and root for them, regardless of the je ne sais that Dan Campbell has.
I'm sorry, the what?
Je ne sais.
Oui, monsieur.
Really good. Good attempt.
Thanks.
Thanks for trying to raise our level here.
So, Michelle, I was watching this morning, and you went through a top 10 quarterback kind of ranking to see where different quarterbacks fit. And was I crazy? You had Jordan Love outside of your top 10. Was that a fair assessment of your quarterback rankings?
Let me grab the list. I have it right
All right.
here. Hang on.
This just came across her desk.
It hit the desk. Yes.
Here we have the list. So I had the top 5 just clustered together. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts. Oh, I love the NFL music. Let's get this going.
That's just
The
for
only,
this.
Then
it's
It's really
the only segment
music
that we do
have.
that for. So yeah, it's very special.
Then I had rounding out the top 10, checking in at number six, Jaden Daniels.
Is this what
then
professional
had-
radio people sound like? Is that what they sound like? Because we certainly aren't that.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do Canty's power rankings every week, and I love the number five, the very dramatic number five voice. So I had Jaden Daniels, I had Matt Stafford, I had Jared Goff, CJ Stroud, and then I put Justin Herbert in there, and then honorable mention, because the entire genesis of the conversation is Evan Cohen saying that Brock Purdy's a top 10 quarterback. And I wouldn't put Brock Purdy over Jordan Love, and I wouldn't put him over Dak either. And I know that sounds crazy because he's been to a Super Bowl, but he's had so much talent around him. And then last year, 6 wins once a lot of that talent wasn't there, and they had some injuries erode their team. So I just don't have as much confidence in Brock Purdy than I would Jordan Love. Even though I did not put Jordan Love in the top 10, I could make an argument for him.
Okay, so when you look back and your fandom started last year and you saw what Jordan did 2 years ago, especially at the back end of the season in the playoffs, did it meet your expectations for what you thought a second-year starting quarterback was, or did you expect more from Jordan, especially in those big games that we didn't find a way to win?
I expected more from him. It was inconsistent last year for a multitude of reasons. Obviously, he dealt with injuries, which is outside of his control, but those turnovers are in his control a lot of times. And I keep saying this, I need the Toyota-thon version of Jordan Love for an entire season. We need the back half of the season Jordan Love for an entire season. And until I see that, I can't put him over some of these other guys. But the good news is I fully think he's capable of it. I just need to see him put it together, and he is still early on in his playing career, or at least starting career. And I have high hopes for him. But coming into my fandom, coming off that playoff run they had, where he went into Dallas and absolutely embarrassed and decimated the Cowboys in Jerry's world, the way he played 49ers, a lot of people thought Jordan Love would be in the MVP conversation. So even though he certainly had those good moments, I would say year 2, underwhelming.
And then you look at the wide receiver spot, and Packer fans are clamoring. I know free agency starts here in a couple of hours officially. Does Green Bay need to make a move? I was on the get Devontae back here at whatever cost. That obviously didn't happen. What do you think of this crew? Because I thought that group was really disappointing last year, too inconsistent, and would love to see a veteran presence come in. What do you see?
I agree with you. I would have loved to see a Devontae reunion, but second, I heard that DK Metcalf would be available. I was salivating at that idea. Give Jordan Love another weapon, that big physical presence, give him another look, another wrinkle in that offense. Obviously, that didn't happen, and neither did Devontae. And maybe they still will go out there and add a piece. I hope that they do, because I'm with you. I think that they need to add a true number one receiver to this offense. We'll see how they accomplish that. I expected more so far in free agency for them. They've made some good moves. I love fortifying the offensive line and, of course, adding at corner. But I would definitely like to see them still add a receiver.
Talking with Michelle Smallmon of Unsportsmanlike, and I'm just sitting here listening to her going, welcome to being a Packers fan, Michelle. They got a guard in free agency. Oh, they got a nickel guy in free agency. That's actually a lot compared to many other years in free agency. So it is certainly not Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney in free agency like last year. All right, a few other things we want to get to. Again, we're excited to have you. Certainly, we're very proud for being the really the tip of the spear that led to your Packers fandom. We did most of the heavy lifting, let's be honest. But you got this great thing going on with Travel Wisconsin. I'll tell folks about it again after we're done with you. I do want to talk about the fact that Trey Hendrickson remains on the trade block. I'm guessing you guys have spent some time talking about him. He is a field-tilting player. He's also 30 years old. And again, welcome to Packers fandom. If you're 30 years old, Goody doesn't necessarily want you. Right now on their roster, they have one 30-year-old player, and it's Brandon McManus. That's it. That's the list. Do you agree with that philosophy, one? And then two, as a Packers fan, are you allowing yourself to get your hopes up for Trey Hendrickson, or have you learned that that's probably unlikely as well at this point?
So while I love this young group that they have, because they're interesting. They're young, but they have experience, right? They're still malleable and still growing together, but they've been in the playoffs, so they have a bit of that scar tissue. So they're a really interesting balance, which I love. But I am not going to say no to a Trey Hendrickson. Is there a contingent out there that's going to say no to Trey Hendrickson to the Packers?
Goody.
I would be ecstatic if that were to happen.
Well, I don't know what they're willing to give up. I don't know what they're willing to pay him because they'll have to do that. And again, he has celebrated his 30th birthday, so that leaves them in a challenging spot. All right,
so this
so
is like
Michelle,
a Leonardo DiCaprio thing, right?
Yeah.
You know how Leonardo
Yes,
DiCaprio,
Goody.
the joke is like he won't date anyone over 25? Is that how Goody operates? He's got like the Leonardo DiCaprio theory, or the Leo approach, we can call it.
I love this. I think this is what we should do going forward.
Can you zoom in? I literally wrote down the Leonardo DiCaprioization of the Packers on my notes here. So
You did?
Before
Oh my
she
gosh, look
said
at that.
before she said it, yes, yeah,
Wow, great minds
yeah,
thinking
we're right
alike.
here, absolutely.
A lot
Love
of
that.
similarities between the two of you. Yeah. So Michelle, before we let you go, you and I have been in the same place. You were at the Tundra Trio for one of the game when you came for a game, and then I managed to do our pregame show, and I never spoke to you. Was that your first and only trip to Wisconsin, or do you have other ones in your past? Because the draft with Travel Wisconsin is going to be obviously a big deal, and you're going to be here
She
for
also
it.
was in East Illinois, which I didn't know about. I heard that whole segment. East Illinois, which is St. Louis. By the way, I'm going to St. Louis for hockey. I need a recommendation for a great lunch or dinner spot when I'm down in the St. Charles area.
Say less. I've got you. I will text you some options, and then I will text my people and let them know you're coming. I will
Ooh,
get you
I like
all-
that, and I'll give a full report back. Fantastic.
Okay, good. I'm assuming you'll have a car. If
That
you're
is
in St.
correct.
Louis, you
Yep, a
can-
Chevy Tahoe
Okay.
from Zimrich Chevy.
Do you have any interest in being his navigator? Because it's a great job to have.
I'll say this. So we'll see Michelle up at the draft. I'm not going to put her through the Bartski thing where I'm not the easiest. I expect a lot from my passenger, Michelle. I want music to be played. I want to have conversation topics, and we're not stopping. We're going. We're going to do the 5 hours.
Hold your pee. Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of my
No,
deal.
We're on the same wavelength here.
All
I
right.
actually was just telling Rob Lorenzo, our social and digital guy, that the number one barometer of a good relationship, like if you're on a date, you should say to yourself, could I do a 5-hour road trip with this person? Do they make me laugh? Do we have enough to talk about? Are they easygoing? Can the tunes be right? Will they be cool with snacks in the car? This is a barometer of a good relationship. And I'm the same way. I'm an amazing co-pilot. I'm happy to navigate.
What's the go-to snack? What's the
Oh,
snack that you go to?
Going to the University of Illinois and being in Chicago, or being from Southern Illinois / St. Louis, I've done many a trips to Champaign and many a trip to Chicago. I can peel off a 5-hour road trip like nobody's business. I'm good on the aux, but the snacks, you have to stop at the gas station prior, because I'm like you, we're not stopping unless it's an A1 emergency. I always go with ranch corn nuts and a fountain root beer from a gas station.
Ooh, okay.
Yes,
All right.
do not sleep on ranch corn nuts.
All right, I'm sorry, we're out of time. I've got one Tausch. I don't need another. All right, we look forward to you coming to see us. We look forward to the draft. We appreciate that you did this from the Unsportsmanlike studios, because the last time we had a non-Evan Cohen Unsportsmanlike
There was
guest,
fake moonings.
there was the fake mooning incident with Warren Moon and Canty. So there's been a lot of kind of craziness that has occurred during these portions of our program. So we are excited for you to be in Wisconsin. We're excited for you and Tausch to drive 5 hours to Max's next hockey tournament, and then we'll see if there's really that level of compatibility as passenger
it will be
and
tested
driver.
for sure. There's no doubt.
It's all great in the theoretical until you actually experience it. That would be my warning to you. Michelle, we love having you. We think the world of you. We appreciate your time. Thanks.
Love being with you guys. Thanks for having me.